And that's it. Oh, you know what? I did want to share something else. It's the beginning of the damn year. Happy New Year. I shouldn't change my title to that. I guess I could change it later. Change the description to what we talk about today. But yeah, it is the new year. I hope you guys are feeling good about that. I hope you're feeling accomplished about maybe what you set out to do, and maybe your goals changed and you still got some shit done, you know, or you progressed in some way, and maybe there was no progression in your life, and maybe it was just within yourself. Things you wanted to change about you, to consistently just keep doing better, you know, that's change, you know, whatever you want to do, to just be better, to make better, that's it. You just show up and try to be that, you know, that's changing you. Don't let anybody ever make you feel like you can't change. People who can't accept what you want to try to do better. They might say, "Oh, you know, you're never like that. You're a liar. You're phony. You're a bullshitter." You know, don't let people tell you that. If you really want to be different, and you want to just continue a life of being different than what you were, just be it. That's all change is. And knowing it for certain and believing yourself. And at the same time, remembering why you want to change and understanding the importance of why you're changing. So that way nobody can take it away from you. Because if you didn't have a fucking reason or an explanation, yeah, I guess I can kind of believe that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even know why you're doing it. You just want to be liked. You just want to fit in. You know, you just don't want people to criticize you. It's for other reasons than your own personal reasons. It's about approval of others. You know, it's still in the hands of somebody else to make that change, you know. Then of course you could start to allow the shame to come in, the shame, the guilt, when someone might say those things, if that's true. If it's true in the case that you're not doing it solely for you, you know, if you're just doing it to get by, you know, or if you're trying to make a change for the better, so that way, you know, maybe you're trying to have a better outcome or future with your new self and your new habits or your new lifestyle that affects other people in a positive way, then yeah, but start with yourself, start with you. That way nobody says, "Oh, you're just doing that to, you know, stay alive for your child," or "You're just doing that so, you know, you won't get rejected by those people. You're just doing it so that way, you know, you could fit in," whatever, you know. Try to frame it in your mind where it's like, I want to like who I show up as. And ultimately, it's something that those people value. And I think that having those people in my life is a good thing. And it's valuable to me, and it's motivating for me. So that's why I'm going to do it. It comes after. Yes, I want to stay alive for my child because it's more valuable to have a healthy example. Even if that means my body needs to be healthy, my mind needs to be healthy, my actions need to be healthy. They need an example. That's what parenting is a lot of the time. An example for a child. So not just because you know that they need you, but because you know that's probably more valuable than anything that you could do in terms of the relationship that you have with that child. To be better for them, to be better for yourself, because it's better for them. You see what I'm saying? So that way it sticks. It sticks. And that comes after. That effect comes after. You know, so don't forget why you make a change. It could go throughout the rest of your life. It could also very much be a goal that changes from the beginning of the year that you set. It could eventually dissipate and fade, and you might change your mind completely and you want to do something else, or you see the value in something else and you have to let go of your older resolution, whatever it is. Don't be afraid to just make goals throughout the year. Don't wait a whole year to try to be better. I hate New Year's resolutions, and mostly because I hate going to the gym in January and seeing so many people fucking lie to themselves and then fall off by Valentine's Day, you know what I mean, or March, So this time of year where nobody's there in the wintertime, just before January, those are the real people who want it, who are going there on Christmas morning, who are going there on Thanksgiving morning, who are going there on Sunday. Think of your life in that way. You're going to show up because you need to. Not because it makes you look better, not because it's the most motivating time in your life, not because you're so inspired around this particular time, whenever that time is for you. Just be okay with aligning your values, finding out what your values are. If it needs to change, okay, don't wait till next year if it needs to change. Don't give up halfway in the year. Failure is necessary, correction is necessary. It isn't always failure to the point where you just quit. And if that's the case, then yes, you're probably a failure and a loser. But at the same time, if you pick yourself up to the point where you're like accepting what you couldn't do and then saying, okay, at least I know what I'm gonna do next, start there, Be thankful you have some sort of goal in general in mind that you're working towards. So a lot of people are aimless. So if they try to retract or even try to, redact anything that you decide to do with your life when you say you're going to, be in the conversation of change, remember that if people are willing to say anything negative or that leads, to doubt, it could be considerate. It could be a reflection of how they might be thinking of themselves. That projection is very real. Analyze who's saying it to you. Analyze their life. Analyze their lifestyle, their habits, what they do. Think about them too. When they say those things and see, can they do it? And if they can't and they're saying that you can't, or that they don't and they're saying that you won't, just take that with a grain of salt. In those moments, be very present and aware and just think to yourself like, that is what projection is. Well, they'll sort of tell you to doubt yourself, or thinking that they're being real and honest with you, trying to say and put you in a box or compartmentalize you to think, okay, I need to keep them right there with me because I know I can't. So maybe it might make themselves feel better to tell you that, or maybe they have this perception that they're being real when really they're casting doubt because maybe somebody might have done that to them. So understand that could be the case, and no matter what, by all means, just keep trying. Just keep trying. And really try not to allow yourself to believe everything that you hear about you until you've really sat with yourself alone without your ego and look at your actions. And if you are unable to be self-aware, write down what you did in that day and write down how you truly feel. Write down why you did certain things, how you felt at the time when you did it. Analyze an emotion. If you need to track your well-being and track yourself and keep it to yourself, just so that way you know you're bullshitting or not, or knowing if you're lying to yourself, it's more respectful than to be breathing your own bullshit and being in the same spot for the rest of your life. All because you cushion your mind, cushion yourself to think that nothing's wrong with you. And that alone limits you, unfortunately, because it could be the case that that person's probably nowhere near where they want to be, or nowhere near the life that they envy against others, compared to others, when they compare themselves to others, you know. So don't listen to anybody who doesn't actually show signs of integrity. Don't listen to anybody that is not living a life that they are genuinely learning from, or the advice that they're giving you that is actually something they're living. You know what I'm saying? So by all means, you can consider things to be true and acknowledge the truth in what people might be saying. But if those same people are giving you rejection, or if they're giving you harsh criticism, or giving you full doubt, or making you feel guilty for the life you're trying to actively reach or make steps to get to, you can also probably disregard that information that they're giving you, you know. And it might hurt because it could be someone you really love, or someone you might really like, or someone you might envy. You know, you want their life, or whatever aspect of them you want. Try to separate yourself and realize that it could be that they're bullshitting. It could be that they're just afraid. It could be that they want to hold you back by being too harsh and not considering your feelings. It could be that they really love you and they don't want you to fall like they did, but they don't know how to do anything but discourage to encourage, you know? So if you can take it on the chin and separate them from the words, and it actually helps you, by all means do that. But if somebody is trying to rob you of your accomplishments, your joy, your success, even if it's small compared to anybody else, something that you accomplished and you did, you have every right to value it and keep it in your toolbox, and don't let anybody take it from you, ever. It's to that point where if you do, you may never get where you want to be. You may never like yourself. And you could be laying in a place when you're about to die and think, I could have been really great, but I was living for other people, you know. Morning, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. So, and don't listen to me. Don't take anything I have to say in consideration. If you feel that way, you know. I say all those things out of observation and also lived experience. And this is also my form of being able to talk to myself and have free thought. And what I would say to myself if the camera wasn't on, self-motivation, you know, and self-talk that's positive, and speaking of the reality of my situation in order to lead me to more positive thinking in order to obtain my goal, if that makes sense. So I've had opportunities that I lost. I had believed what people thought of me because I was just scared and intimidated by them, and they casted themselves so much better than me because really I didn't realize they were in their ego. You know, I have had disappointments of myself and all of my efforts that I've tried. I've tried 100% of my effort, and realizing that that day after, looking back at my efforts, I got nothing from doing 100%, and had to humble myself to say, okay, I'm going to try 100% again today, even though I got nowhere. And that's hard to do. So I say, you know, I was also somebody who tried their best for a year and learned so much and pulled back, and people would look at that as an obvious failure, you know, to lose what you might have had at one point, you know, or maybe not, you know, whatever it was. You know, I've come from failure too. I've also come from nothing, you know, and I've also watched my parents struggle, and I've also never really been in a position to where I could ever have exactly what I wanted as soon as I asked for it. So, you know, I've had to work very hard for everything that I have. And that is a little hard for people to grasp when they had a lot of help as soon as they needed help, and were able to receive yeses for questions of help and guidance and advice when they asked, you know, or knowledge. At some point, I was raised to the point where I realized, like, my capacity for understanding was at a rapid rate in comparison to the people who were raising me, to the point where, because I witnessed their lifestyles and seen their habits, that despite what they told me, I was witnessing people who were hypocritical. So it was very hard for me to put my trust in the advice that they'd given me if they weren't quite living the life that they were deciding or trying to persuade or encourage me to have verbally, rather than them living exactly what they were saying. So, you know, I sought out to other sources, other role models. You know, I really watched a lot of YouTube. There was a lot of people in the fitness community that I'd take to. Now, at this point of working for myself, there was a lot of people that I watch in terms of business, you know. And since I'm silly, there's a lot of people that I watch that are comedians, you know, that can express themselves through comedy and not always just regular thought, you know, silliness and things like that. So, and I relate to those things, and knowing that people are out there being silly too, you know, and having fun whenever they choose to be uplifting, and people who are giving advice about business, who care about discussions about business and how things operate in terms of business, whatever that means for that business. And knowing that my peers don't really talk about those things, it makes you feel a little bit odd. And then on top of that, art, expressions of art, and not being around many artists, and knowing that one of the greatest ones I've ever known passed away is my own father. Not being able to really relate to somebody who is self-aware about why they're even making art. You know, I didn't have many of those people. So then on top of that, then you have people who are, you know, invested in fitness. Nobody in my family really lives a healthy life. You know, they all do drugs or drink or party or stay out late. And granted, I love a motherfucking party. Love to party, and I love to smoke cigarettes, and I love to drink alcohol. And I like to scream at the top of my lungs, you know what I mean, and be fun. But, I also watched that be detrimental to their lives, and that be the only thing that they showed up for with full willingness. Wasting time. Celebrating nothing. And spend all their money for moments that just pass by that they never really can retain to have something to show for. They didn't make them anything, you know. So, not even made them any happier, unfortunately. So, of course, I gravitated towards people who talked about fitness and their body and their well-being and how it affects your mind eventually. So, you know, and I didn't have those people around me, but I did outsource those people. And it may not be me, and it may not be anything I say. You know, and if you think I'm a liar, you can, you know. And if you doubt anything I say, that's all right. But if you could have any meaning to anything I'm saying today, I guess it's just that follow your intuition. and remove your ego to hear it. Whatever that feeling that you keep thinking of, that you keep going back to, your desire, your want, find the root of it to see how you can get closer to something like it. And if it's something that you constantly feel, you constantly think of wanting to do, accept that that's a desire and that you probably should gravitate towards that lane or actively make decisions towards that. You know, but recognize if that desire is really going to benefit your life and help that you change forever. You know, and it could be false desires. Recognize if it's a true one. Recognize if having that thing will actually make you change, or if it's something that you feel like you need to change. And if it won't make you change for the better once you receive it for long term, then just let your brain understand what lust is. You know, look up the definition of what lust is, you know, and leave lust behind. Leave it behind. Okay. I love you guys. It's been an hour. I've got to go. See you. See you later. Bye.